You can build a life in the United States for 20 years, learn the slang, buy the house, raise the kids, and still lose everything in the 60-second walk from the jet bridge to the immigration podium. Sounds impossible, right? Yet it's happening more often than anyone's admitting. Stay with me, and in the next few minutes you'll see the silent rules that now decide whether a lawful permanent resident walks straight through or straight into secondary, detention, and the slow conveyor belt to deportation. Stick around to the end, and I'll tell you how to grab the one-page HIROC reentry survival checklist, the pros keeping their carry-on. 1. The 180-day myth becomes a rule. For years, the lore was simple: stay abroad fewer than 180 days, and you're safe. Cross that line, and you might get grilled. In mid-2024, the Department of Homeland Security quietly flipped that story. Now, any trip of 180 days or more triggers what officers call a presumption of abandonment. They don't have to seize your card, but the clock starts at guilty until you prove yourself innocent. Immigration lawyers report a spike in travelers pulled into little rooms because they miscounted by a single day. Funeral ran long, surgery recovered slow, pandemic restrictions lifted late. Grandma's memorial on day 181? You're explaining ties to the U.S. for 6 hours while your family circles baggage claim. But half a year isn't the only clock ticking. 2. The silent 365-day cutoff and reentry permits. 12 months abroad without special paperwork is basically surrender. If you stay outside the U.S. for a full year and you don't hold a reentry permit, border officers write up a notice to appear, and now you're defending yourself in front of an immigration judge, an expensive multi-year gamble you can easily lose. The lifesaver is the force-majeure 131 reentry permit. It's a humble blue booklet that signals, "I warned you I'd be out," and USCIS signed off. The catch? You must file the application while you're still in the U.S. Trying to mail it from overseas is a dead end. Permit or no permit, you still have to convince the officer you never moved out. That's where paperwork beats charm. 3. The residency trifecta: license, bank, taxes. Officers look for 3 neon signs that say, "I really live in America," driver's license or state ID that hasn't expired and shows a current U.S. address. If you swapped it for a foreign license, warning lights flash. Active bank account with recent swipes, transfers, or deposits. Word on the street is that algorithms flag any account dormant for 6 months. IRS Form 1040 every single year, even if you earned 0 overseas. Skipping a tax year drops you into DHS data sharing models labeled possible abandonment. Walking into passport control with these 3 items current and consistent feels dull, until you watch the officer stamp your passport in 20 seconds while the people behind you head to the glass cubicles. Address consistency is next on the chopping block. 4. The true address test. Customs officers double-check your stated address against databases in real time. Zip code off by 1 digit, utility bill older than 60 days, secondary. They want to see the same street on your license, tax return, online utility statement, and shipping labels. A mismatched Airbnb or cousin's couch rental screams, "I moved." Solution: put at least 1 active utility in your own name, renew leases before travel, and forward physical mail so credit card offers don't bounce back undeliverable. Keep digital copies ready on your phone. The second the officer raises an eyebrow, you flip the screen and erase the doubt. And if the address checks out, but your plastic doesn't? 5. Zero tolerance for expired docs. The plastic rule. Since January 2025, ports of entry enforce a blunt guideline. Show an expired green card and you're in violation, period. Even a 7-day lapse can land you in deferred inspection or receiving an NTA, notice to appear. The bulletin leaked in March, unverified but widely shared among attorneys, urges officers to decline boarding if the card is dead. Guard yourself by marking the expiry date in 3 places: calendar, phone alarm, and an email scheduled to ping 6 months out. If USCIS hasn't produced the new card by travel day, visit a field office and request an ADIT stamp in your passport. That ink turns into a temporary green card for 1 year. But the strictest examiner these days isn't human. 6. The AI abandonment profile. Unverified, but attorneys swear it exists. DHS publishes an annual list of internal algorithms, and 2024's version mentions a model scoring an LPR's continuous residence risk. Nobody outside the agency sees the math, but immigration lawyers keep spotting travelers sent to secondary who share the same digital fingerprints: missing tax year, bank dormancy, long absences, expired license. Officials refuse to confirm thresholds. They just say, all cases are reviewed individually. Translation: a machine tees you up, a human swings the bat. Treat every data point, tax, bank, license, travel history, like it feeds a hungry algorithm. Starve it of red flags and you might bypass the entire mess. When life forces you to break the rules, paperwork, not persuasion, buys the exemption. 7. Humanitarian exemptions, proof, or peril. Real life still beats policy. Medical emergencies, funerals, armed conflict, these can justify long absences. But officers no longer accept "my mom was sick" without receipts. Bring originals, hospital letters, death certificates, police reports, all translated and apostilled if foreign. Staple boarding passes or airline emails showing delayed flights. Digitize everything to a PDF folder on your phone because coffee spills kill paper. When the officer asks why you stayed 212 days, you don't launch into a saga. You hand over the documents and let silence speak. It's astonishing how fast a stamp appears when the story proves itself. Tie it together and you get the kit that immigration lawyers swear by. 8. The 8-piece reentry survival kit. Passport plus unexpired green card. Front sleeve always together. Driver's license matching the address on your bank and taxes. Last 3 IRS returns printed front to back. Highlight your U.S. address. Last 3 bank statements showing ongoing activity, lease or deed, plus a current utility bill in your name. Proof of U.S. job or business, pay stub, W-2, or EIN letter. Reentry permit or ADIT stamp if applicable. Documentation for any stay greater than or equal to 180 days. Medical, funeral, or force-majeure evidence. Slide these into a slim folder. If an algorithm flags you or an officer hesitates, you produce incontrovertible proof faster than they can call a supervisor. Want to see what happens when someone ignores every one of these points? 9. Maria's 60-second loss, the cautionary tale. Maria left the U.S. after her father's sudden passing. She stayed 7 months, 2 weeks, past the magic 180, to settle his estate. Taxes, filed late, bank, dormant, license, expired overseas. She landed smiling. The kiosk spat a big X. An officer marched her into secondary. In 60 bewildering seconds she learned. Outdated license, plus dormant bank, plus 7-month stay equals intent to abandon residence. Her case is still pending 10 months later, and she's burning savings on lawyers who can't guarantee a win. The cruel twist? All her mistakes were solvable before the flight. A re-entry permit, a $20 driver's license renewal, 1 online bank transfer, and 3 stamped estate documents would have flipped the decision the other way. Which brings us home. Conclusion. Protect the plastic. Protect the dream. The green card in your wallet isn't just plastic, it's paperwork in motion. Ignore the motion and watch the card melt. So remember, count every day abroad. Hit 180 and your burden of proof triples. Apply for a re-entry permit before the calendar hits 365. Keep the residency trifecta alive. License current, bank active, taxes filed. Align every address across documents. Never travel with an expired card. Get that ADIT stamp. Assume an AI model is scanning your life. Starve it of red flags. When emergencies strike, what do you mind when you might see sorrow to strike him? Stack original documents in your carry-on. Carry the 8-piece survival kit every single time you fly. Follow these, and the walk from jet bridge to passport control becomes a stroll, not a tribunal? Want the one-page checklist immigration lawyers hand their own families? It's free, link in the description. Like, subscribe, bell on, and share this with every green card holder you know. One folder of papers beats one lifetime of regret. Safe travels. And keep that card alive.